Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So today, we thought we'd read a little bit from Prabhupada's books today, so I hope you're not in a rush. Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Gopijan Vallabha Girivardhari Gopijan Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brajajan Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajan Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajan Ranjana Yamuna Tiro Vanachari Yamuna Tiro Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajakacharya Ashtotaya Satashila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Srila Prabhupada ki Shri Gaur Nitai ki Shri Krishna Balaram ki Shri Giriraj Maharaj ki Shri Baradeva ki Shri Lakshmi Nrsingadev ki Shri Radha Govinda Madhava ki New Mayapur Dham ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Gopremanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Sri Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Vadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswate Devi Gaudavani Vacharine Nirvasesha Sunyavadi Paschacha Desha Tarine. Hare Krishna. So someone can ask in French, who needs a French translation? Amongst the ladies, someone can ask. Anybody needs a French translation? Amongst the boys, that's fine. Bruno is, Baladev is here, or Benoit, either one. The two B's. We have two B's there, so no problem. You want to do, who's going to do? Which?
Prabhu's going to do.
Baladev Prabhu. So if maybe mice can sit close to you. Hare Krishna. Hare Bo. And I don't think there's a need for Slovakian. Okay, not at the moment. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We are reading today. Yesterday's verse was one of the most quoted verses in this 9th canto. And today we are on text number 60. Is that on the board?
Yes,
60? Which one's on the board, I wonder? I can't really see from here. Does it begin with Kalau or with Karmani?
Karmani.
Okay, so 60 is on the board. So please repeat. Karmani, Aparimeyani, Manasa api, Sura Ishvarai, Saha Sankarshanaha, Chakre, Bhagavan, Madhusudanaha, Kamanya Parimeyani, Manasapi Sureshvarai, Saha Sankarshanash Chakre, Bhagavan Madhusudanaha, Kamanya Parimeyani, Manasapi Sureshvarai, Saha Sankarshanash Chakre, Bhagavan Madhusudanaha, Karmanya Parimeyani, Manasapi Sureshvarai, Saha Sankarshanash Chakre, Bhagavan Madhusudanaha, Karmanya Parimeyani, Manasapi Sureshvarai, Saha Sankarshanash Chakre, Bhagavan Madhusudanaha, Karmanya Parimeyani, Manasapi Sureshvarai, Saha Sankarshanash Chakre, Bhagavan Madhusudanaha, Karmanya Parimeyani, Manasapi Sureshvarai, Sankarshanash Chakre, Bhagavan Madhusudanaha. Ladies. Karmanya Parimeyani, Manasapi Sureshvarai, Saha Sankarshanash Chakre, Bhagavan Madhusudanaha, Karmanya Parimeyani, Manasapi Sureshvarai, Sankarshanas Chakre Bhagavan Madhusudanaha Karmani Activities. The boys have some access to the translation, or are you speaking it as it comes?
I will just speak the translation after.
Okay, fine. Aparimayani, immeasurable, unlimited. Manasa api, even by such plans, perceived within the mind. Sura Ishvarai, by the controllers of the universe, like Brahma and Shiva. Saha Sankarshanaha, along with Sankarshan, Baladev. Chakre, performed. Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Madhusudana, the killer of the Madhu demon. Translation. There is no purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, with the cooperation of Sankarshan, Balaram, performed activities beyond the mental comprehension of even such personalities as Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. For instance, Krishna arranged the battle of Kurukshetra to kill many demons for the relief of the entire world. So in yesterday's verse, this was also indicated and extensively commented on by Srila Prabhupada. And so we're not going there today. We'll go on to the next verse, which is text 61. It's not on the board. If you have a mobile phone with it on or some other appliance, maybe you can access it. Kalajani shamananang dukkha shoko tamo nudam anugrahaya bhaktanam supanyang vyatanad yashaha. And there is a purport to this verse, short that it may be, but we'll read this verse today. To show causeless mercy to the devotees who would take birth in the future in this age of Kali, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, acted in such a way that simply by remembering him, one will be freed from all the lamentation and unhappiness of material existence. In other words, he acted so that all future devotees, by accepting the instructions of Krishna consciousness stated in the Bhagavad Gita, could be relieved from the pangs of material existence. Does anyone here not know what a pang is? It's not a very common English word. Pangs.
What is pang?
Good. Well, you've got the French translation, I presume, in the book. So what does it say in French for pangs?
Pang, but I don't know what is pang.
In French, that means affre. But I don't know what does it mean in French neither.
Jai! Someone translated it. I don't know who did that. Someone look up the exact. It's an extraordinarily rare word, pangs. We understand the meaning in terms of general description, but specific meaning, someone can look it up in the dictionary. A pang. P-A-N-G, a pang.
Acute pain.
Pardon?
Acute pain.
acute pain. That's a good definition of a pang. Some acute pain. Something very painful. Something very unwanted. Huh? Have you got it there, P2 Prabhu? A pang.
I'm just
Checking it out. Interesting. Because we read this and many times...
It's a sudden sharp pain or painful emotion.
Yeah.
So like Lindsay explained, the sharp pang of guilt.
Guilt. So basically, as you say, it's a sharp pain. A pang. It's a good word, huh? I'm giving you a pang. Take this pang. The pangs, the miseries, the pains of material. Relieved from. I'm sure everyone would like to be relieved from the pangs. Anyone like to be relieved from their pangs? Yeah. So here's the formula to get pangless. To become pangless. How do you become pangless? How do we become pangless? Free from pangs. Huh?
Agony, anguish, discomfort, spasm, bite and distress.
Spice?
Bite.
That's German, is it?
No. Anguish, discomfort, spasm, bite like biting somebody.
Oh, bite, yeah, bites.
And distress.
Okay, something very sharp and not very nice, huh?
Half is good.
Huh?
The French word half is the right one.
It's the right one, is it? Ah. Anyway, we're remembering this. It's good to remember. We will remember this, in a sense, quite easily. The pangs of material existence. Huh? It kind of gets an impression on our heart. The material world is dukkhalayam ashashvatam. Huh? Painful place, unpleasant place, huh? Miserable place. We get used to it and we think it's normal. If we don't know something else, you think your own situation is normal. Every happiness and distress is very relative, huh? According to our memory, our experience. We maybe forgotten some of the miseries of the past or even the happiness of the past. Relative to whatever we can remember right now, practically. And yes, the material world is a temporary place full of dukkhalayam. Dukkha alayam. Dukkha means? Pardon? Sorrow, suffering, misery. Alayam? Dukkha, pardon? Place. Yeah. This word comes up even in English, alaya. This word referring to a country or a place, alaya. Many words, Australia. They're taken from alaya, many words originally, place. Astra alaya, place of the astras. That's why it's a desert. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The Lord's activities of saving the devotees and killing the demons, and there's a famous verse in the Bhagavad Gita, very, very famous verse. 4th chapter Gita. Who knows this verse? Well, there's two exalted Vaishnavis with their hands raised high, most eager to share this teachings of Bhagavad Gita, which we've just heard, are the remedy. They're the solution to curing the ills or the pangs, the miseries of material existence. To apply, not just hearing is good, but an application is effective. It's a good start to hear. It's very purifying also. If someone gives you a bottle of medicine, not anyone, a doctor, gives us a medicine, what do you do with it? Throw it away. Good idea. We can look at it in different ways, but let's take a normal course of life. As soon as a doctor, we have a doctor. You go, doctor, please, I need some medicine. He gives you the medicine, you just throw it in the bin.
You feel good. Even without taking it already, you feel good.
You feel good, okay? Maybe there's a psychological aspect, we all know that too.
He's an agent of the medical industry.
Okay, leave it till afterwards. We don't want to call the doctor. We'll have to call an ambulance if this carries on much longer here. So what does the doctor do? He gives you the medicine. What do? He writes a prescription, okay? Okay, we're going a little bit long there. He writes a prescription. You go to the pharmacy, and the pharmacy hopefully gives you the right medicine. What do you do with the medicine?
You take it.
What do you take it? What do you take it where? You don't throw it away. You take it, you put it in your bag. And what do you do then?
You go to your house.
Huh?
You go to your place.
Or maybe you go home.
Yeah.
And then what do you do?
Open the door.
Open the door. With the medicine. Say it could say open the door with the medicine.
You read the prescription.
Ah, good idea. You read the prescription.
You follow.
And you follow what it says. Is that the idea? Right. Bhagavad Gita is like that, huh? Medicine, huh? Lord Chaitanya's given us medicine, huh? I don't even know if I'm going to get round to these books. Let's see. Hey, Neche Oshadi Maya, huh? Lord Chaitanya has brought the Oshadi. In Sanskrit, this Oshalya, Oshadi is like medicine, huh? So you read the prescription. Bhagavad Gita is the prescription. To read it. Okay, I read the prescription. Thank you, doctor, I read the prescription. That's it, huh? Finished. Finished?
No, you apply it. You take it.
You apply it. Oh, well, you're very faithful to the medical organization. We've been brainwashed. We've been brainwashed. They say we're brainwashed because we follow the instructions of Krishna. You are brainwashed. You can't think for yourself. You just listen to this imaginary person called Krishna. Become a robot. Some people say like that. Well, they're also following this so-called, whatever it is, directions, prescriptions of material existence. Huh? Right from the moment we're born, we're following it, right? Right from the moment we come out the womb. You'll be basically brainwashed or brain dirtied, whichever way you look at it, to think and act in such and such a way and to accept this as the normal, right? And if you don't do that, you know, you're abnormal. You're an odd bod. So, yes, the Bhagavad Gita, you apply the medicine. It's not enough just to get it. It's not enough even just to go to the doctor. It's not enough just to read the prescription. Is that right, Gopaswami Pro? You have to take the medicine. Is that right? You have to preach this fellow next door to you. I don't know what's wrong with him. He's just as well he can't hear. You have to take it. And you don't take it all at once, do you? 100 pills say 90. 3 pills 3 times a day for 10 days, right? Oh, this is a waste of time. I might forget. Let me take them all at once. Easy. Would that work? Something will work, but maybe not what you intended, huh? You might be in the hospital pretty quick, pumping out your stomach or something. Or just wait, take 10 a day. Take them all at once, 9 at once, as soon as you get up. No, you have to follow what it says. There's a prescription. Bhagavad Gita gives a prescription, and there may be a little different prescription for different patients. The goal is the same. But not everyone has exactly the same sickness. Here's a very big one here. Demons. Amongst the demons, there are so many varieties of demons. Everyone has some demoniac mentality. Even aspiring devotees. Have you ever had a material desire since you've been chanting Hare Krishna? Ever? Ever thought something a little demoniac? Yeah. Depends how far you go with the definition of demoniac, I guess. Only pure thoughts, huh? Transcendental thoughts of Krishna. Constantly. Of course, that's the goal of the Bhagavad Gita. Manmana bhava mad bhakto. Isn't it? To always think of Krishna. Here, remedy. Thinking of Krishna. One is immune. One becomes immune. Immune. What's immune? Immune. Protected from. Freed from. Protected from. Not affected by. Immune. Immune. Immunity, exactly. Immunity. So one can become protected. Protected from what?
Protected by for our mind, our thought.
Protected by our mind?
No.
What's the power of the mind? What is that?
Yeah. No.
Pardon? What does that mean? What is that power that protects us? What's the power that protects us? Devotional service. Why?
It says in Bhagavad Gita, keep all sinful activities away from me by the power of devotional service.
Correct. But how does it work? Ultimately, how does it work?
By association with Krishna, we become purified.
We become purified by?
By association with Krishna.
Yeah, by Krishna. Krishna is the purifier. He's the pavitram. He purifies. He's purifying everyone. We've just heard he's even purifying the demons. In a different way. He may smash them. Just like we're being smashed also, in a sense. Huh? Smashing our material desires. Huh? Have you ever noticed that sometimes? How do we get smashed? I mean, it's a pretty rough word, you could say. But maybe a little bit slowly, maybe suddenly sometimes. You have a sudden, material desire or something, and boom, something, you fall off the seat or something, The seat collapses under you. And you get this. Some mercy. It's mercy. Devotee sees this as mercy. Krishna's mercy. Reminding us of Him. The whole material world is meant for that purpose. And people don't, very hard to change the consciousness of people. So it's Krishna who purifies. I don't know where to begin here. There's so many beautiful statements like this. What can't we got? I'll just go into it and see, not necessarily in order. Oh, we were asking what is that we're being protected from? Krishna's protecting us in different ways. Let's go into the Bhagavatam. The other day, Gopaswami and myself were talking. You remember down the hut, and you were mentioning Prahlad Maharaj, and then we went into other similar statements in various places. So we're going to read the statement of Prahlad Maharaj. Here's what he says. He says many things, but this is in relationship to this. My Lord, who are never conquered by anyone, I am certainly not afraid of your ferocious mouth and tongue. Lord Nrsimhadev, for the demons, pretty scary, huh? Probably for us, if we didn't know, in ignorance, if you see a huge, fearsome looking lion, especially have a body of a man and a head of a lion, and, massive hands with fierce nails, and roaring right in front of your face. How would you feel?
Probably terrified.
Probably. Even a dog can terrify us. A little blooming dog, huh? Want to speak of someone, an entity like Lord Nrsimhadev. It's easy to get scared in this world, isn't it? Easy to get afraid. So many things. There's no end of causes of fear. But he's not afraid of that. Your eyes bright like the sun, blazing eyes, or your frowning eyebrows. I do not fear your sharp, pinching teeth, your garland of intestines, Imagine you see someone walking along the street with a gallon of intestines, long fangs and real sharp, razor sharp teeth, blazing eyes. Whew. Your mane soaked with blood, or your high wedge-like ears. Sometimes they depict demons with sharp, ears sticking out, big, these things, frowning eyebrows, If you ever watched in your life, I'm sure you don't watch anymore, but some of these movies where they're having all these kind of animations of demons and things, you can get the idea. Nor do I fear your tumultuous roaring. We had a bit of thunder, I think, yesterday. Someone was saying, I can't remember who it was, but someone said they saw the animals, the deer or something. They were scared. They all kind of roared. They ran away. Was it you, Pre-Tupo, was saying that? They were scared. The sound of the thunder. Roar, quite close. Roaring sound. Pardon?
The goats ran into the car,
Huh?
The goats ran into their box.
The goats, they all ran into their box. They have a box down there, All four of them. They all ran into the box. Huh? They were scared. What is that sound? It's scary. Kind of something beyond us, something which we can't comprehend properly. It's like something beyond us. Sound of thunder. We get used to it, you know what it is, but if you don't know, you're in an animal body where we have no knowledge, forget and so on, you get scared. Tumultuous roaring which makes elephants flee, even elephants flee to distant places. Or your nails which are meant to kill your enemies. Krishna kills in different ways. I was reading the other day on the Dandavat's website how devotees in one city near Dnipro in Ukraine, they were being attacked by rockets. Boom. Their apartment block got smashed. They survived. Pretty scary. Suddenly, boom. They thought a nuclear bomb had gone off. The flash was so powerful, they almost got blinded. And then there's whoa, woof. The windows flew out. Everything went flying. Scary, huh? But Prahlad Maharaj, I'm not scared of all this. Prabhupada, when he was in Calcutta, he was not scared when the bombs were coming down. During the war, Second World War, Calcutta was being bombed. Prabhupada saw Lord Krishna appearing in a different form, universal, a uniform of a universal form. Prabhupada still sat there, most people had left, eating samosas or kachoris. The bombs are coming down. Krishna in a different form. Pure devotees, that's what his name, Abhay Charanaravindra. Why is he fearless? Because he's taken shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord. Huh? Taking shelter. So when we take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, that's the real protection. Even the demons. We will read one more thing. There's so much we could read. The time is short. About even how demons can be, by remembering the Lord, are also protected in a different way, you could say, but the same principle. The remembrance of the Lord, somehow or another. And we'll hear that in a minute. Also from Prahlad Maharaj, actually. So what happens next? O most powerful, insurmountable Lord, who are kind to the fallen souls, I have been put into the association of demons as a result of my activities. And therefore, I am very much afraid of my condition within this material world. When will that moment come? When you will call me to the shelter of your lotus feet, which are the ultimate goal for liberation from conditioned life. And we're all in that situation. As we read the other day, we're in a dangerous situation in this world. No matter who we are, I'll just read a quick thing from Srila Prabhupada. Quick little statement about the nature of this world. We sometimes, even in our efforts to practice devotional service, we forget the essential purpose or the nature of surrender to Krishna. Sometimes we equate it with our mind's condition, our physical condition. In the Bhagavad Gita, we find Krishna giving medicine or medicinal instructions for conditioned souls at different stages. But ultimately, we see Krishna in the end of the Bhagavad Gita, the last instructions, to give up all of these other temporary situations. They may be required at a certain stage of one's awakening, but ultimately they are only temporary, you could say, in their application. The ultimate medicine is manmana bhava madbhakto, at least in terms of the objective of the teachings of Gita, which is the mood of surrender, sarva dharmam pratyagya. When one is fully surrendered, then, of course, Krishna explains that one is protected from all sinful reactions. We may have been born like Prahlad Maharaj in a family of demons, or something demoniac, but the reaction or the result of that association, for instance, where we become attached to science, so-called scientific conclusions, we become attached to sense gratification. I remember listening one time in Vrindavan, the disciple of one of Prabhupada's godbrothers, I don't know who it was, he was a disciple of Puri Maharaj. He gave a little talk on Prabhupada's Tirobhav. His English wasn't particularly developed, but he spoke for a minute or two. And he said, of all the devotees, followers of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj, Swami Maharaj, they call our Srila Prabhupada Swami Maharaj, alone understood the message of his Guru Dev. Not just understood it, but put it into practice. A very profound statement. He said, Swami Maharaj alone amongst all the followers of our Srila Prabhupada attacked science and sense gratification. Probably the two biggest prongs, it's a broad subject, of conditioning, which we're exposed to in this world. Who else is challenging this in a realistic way? Maybe in a partial way, but not getting to the root of science, the root of sense enjoyment. And Prabhupada went right to the heart. You can't deny it. If you read Prabhupada's books, you'll see. But it's, in a way, it's not just down, it's to lift us up, to release us from the pangs of material existence. We don't realize we are stuck in the pangs of material existence. And we think it's okay. Even in devotional service, sometimes we argue over our comfort zones. What we think are. My thought, how I feel. What do you think about this? What do we know about this? Maybe some little something. We have to make decisions, but But we base our decisions not on only on our feelings. I remember we were on a morning, well, I wasn't there. Rohini Nanda Prabhu and devotees in London were on a morning walk with Prabhupada at the manor. Prabhupada asked, what is this, looking at some tree or something? What is this tree? Rohini Nanda said, I think. Prabhupada, boop, stopped immediately. What does this, I think? What does it matter what you think? You have to know. So what do we know? We take materially, people take their knowledge from mundane persons under the influence of Maya, who are imperfect senses, tendency to cheat, making mistakes and illusioned. And we take that as a conclusion, a fact. You sometimes read, and people believe these things, by the way, they read in the news, the scientists, they've come up with some theory or something, there's a great possibility that it may be that something or another happened. Possibly, they go on and on like this. And it's kind of accepted in people's minds almost like a conclusion. It comes as a scientific, so they don't now, they used to. People have kind of given up on that more or less. But it's still there. Speculation. Unless there's knowledge there, then what else do you do? What else do you do? That's why Krishna has spoken Bhagavad Gita. To relieve us of the pangs of material existence, ultimately, by the process of devotional service, pure devotional service, ultimately. To gradually anarto pashamam shakshat bhakti yoga dhokshite. The pangs or the miseries of material existence are superfluous. You know what the word superfluous means? Well, I'm amazed, because in English not everybody knows what that means. It's a rare word. Superfluous. Is it the same in French? So it's almost the same. That's coming from French. So in English, I guess not so many people know it. It's a very rare word in English. Superfluous. It has nothing really to do. But because of identity, we're so entrapped in all of these material endeavors to eradicate misery. But there's nothing really to do with the soul. Misery and the causes of misery, they're illusory in one sense. But the process of eradicating these miseries is the devotional service, bhakti. Anarto pashamam shakrat, bhakti yoga dhokshite. Service to the Hokshaja, as we hear here, the infallible, the unlimited Lord. This is the process, this is the secret. Now Krishna is very kind. I'm going to read one thing here. It is the favor of Krishna, Prabhupada says, it is the favor of Krishna that he has put me into suffering. Whew. That's not an easy one to digest. We hear it, but yeah. They never see, we're talking here about devotees. Prabhupada's talking about devotees in the morning walk in Bombay. They never see suffering as suffering. They never see suffering as suffering. They see it as the favor of Krishna. There's a famous verse, spoken by Lord Brahma, 10:14:8. Who knows that verse? Tatenu kampam susamikshamanam bunjana edvatmakrita vipakam, blah, blah, blah. And Prabhupada says this is the guideline for all devotees in our Krishna consciousness movement. It's not just a nice verse that you learn and pass on. He said this is the guideline for all devotees in our Krishna conscious movement. It's the guideline. You know this verse, Sangeeta? You will learn it soon, okay? Yeah. What is the verse?
One who waits for your compassion is the verse.
Tolerating the various sufferings which the devotee feels, I deserve more than this. Krishna's very kind. He's just given me a token. Of course, it may not be sometimes it's a heavy token. We may see it like that. But when the devotee sees it like that, he constantly, does he pray to Krishna? Oh Krishna, please save me from my toothache. I can't bear this any longer. Maybe. In the beginning stages we may. It's also somewhat Krishna conscious. You're going to Krishna in misery. But a pure devotee, does that how a pure devotee prays like that? Why are you putting me into this situation, Krishna? If you don't save me, I'm going to become a Muslim. I'll become a Jew. I'll become an atheist. Do we pray like that? Maybe. It's common in this world, and neophytes do like that. They often do. They think that, worshipping God means you're going to have a really good comfort zone. Many people, they think like that. The resort of, I know in Malaysia one time, when I was there a long time, but there was this one Christian evangelist preaching to all the Hindus, door to door. The proof that your God is bogus is you're all poor. Look at we Christians. He was preaching like that, heavily. The book, a magazine, everything, all over it, Equating God consciousness with material achievements. That I don't think that was Jesus' mood. It's not what we got from the Bible when we used to read. But somehow they introduced these things, They give you a pig. They go to poor villages, they give you a pig, they give you a house, a wife, money, education, and so on. And like Preetu was saying the other day, I don't think everyone caught what you said, Preetu Pro, about the Christian priests in Africa. Close your eyes, Pray to God. Jesus, pray to Jesus. And what happened? They opened their eyes then?
No, he said that Jomo Kenyatta said that. He was the first black president in Kenya. He said when the Christian missionaries arrived, they had so many Bibles and we had so much land. So they said, all right, now sit down, close your eyes and pray to Jesus. And when you open the eyes, we had the Bibles and they had the land.
Yeah, okay, we'll expand that a little more. Kenyatta was the first president of Kenya in Africa. He said, the Christians, they came, they had so many Bibles. The English, Christians came, preaching. And at that time, all the land was in the hands of the local people, the black people. So the Christians came, and they said, close your eyes. Pray to Jesus. They did. Open your eyes. And they found a Bible in their hands. And they had no more land left. The English had taken all their land away and given them Bibles instead. Good exchange. See the motive. They're very clever because they introduced English, and the only book they had in English was the Bible. That was another thing they did. They had no other book in English. Good preaching. Book distribution. Powerful. And how are we going to that? Huh?
Book distribution and land mafia.
Land mafia. So devotee's vision. He sees when we're put into suffering, Krishna's mercy. Of course, we may do what we need to do. This body is Krishna's energy. We try to utilize it. But ultimately, inside, we're not, we're depending on Krishna. Thank you, Krishna. Thank you. It's exactly like a son who knows his father well. If the father slaps, the son never protests. He knows that it is good for me. Similarly, a devotee is never disturbed when there is suffering given by Krishna. Prahlad Maharaj is a pretty good example. Born in a demoniac family. Tortured. He didn't compromise. He was tortured by his father. Put in a pot of boiling ghee, attacked by demons with, lances and swords and all kinds of instruments. Thrown off a cliff. Fed poisoned food. Huh? They tried to crush him with stones, with elephants. Tried everything they could to kill him. Now that's, you could say, is external. Krishna protected him. You could say externally, but he was really being protected internally. Constantly chanting the holy names. Take whatever you wish to do. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sikshastakam. What does Lord Chaitanya say? You can do whatever you like with me, isn't it? You can send me to hell or heaven. It doesn't matter. Whatever you want to do. Crush me in your embrace. Do as you wish. But you are always my worshipable Lord. Unconditionally. Life after life. Devotee doesn't even aspire for liberation. I'll read another verse. This is from King Kulashekar. King Kulashekar was a great devotee in the Sri Sampradaya. O Lord Hari. And Prabhupada actually translated this and gave a purport to this verse. It's in a book called Mukunda Mala Stotra. Prabhupada he translated 5 verses and gave purports on those 5 verses. This is verse number 4, I think. Yeah, 4. O my Lord Hari. It is not to be saved from the duality of material existence or the grim tribulations. You know what this word means, tribulation.
Yeah, tribulation, the grim. No.
What is grim? Tribulation is a French word also?
Yeah.
Okay. There are thousands of words, English, French, the same. Slightly different, but almost the same. What does grim mean? Unpleasant. She's very good in English. Huh? Something very, very unpleasant, very grim. Or something very hopeless, Very grim. The future is very grim. Very grim. Doesn't look very good. Grim. The grim tribulations of Kumbhapaka. Have you been to Kumbhapaka? Where's Kumbhapaka? It's a suburb of Paris, isn't it? Kumbhapaka? Kumbhapaka. I think it's a suburb of Paris, huh? Or maybe London. Where's Kumbhapaka? Oh, there we go. The answer is coming from Mayapur. It's one of the hellish planets. When we say hellish planets, it's not just one of the lower planets. There are lower planetary systems and there are hellish planetary systems. The lower planetary systems are actually, they can be from a material point of view, pretty opulent. There's no God consciousness there, but there's some kind of karma. You go there, you hate God. But there's some kind of, you don't even think of him. But there's a good karma of some kind there you're enjoying. But the hellish planetary systems are punishments. They're different varieties of punishments are there to, let's say, purify they're supposed to be, to purify the living entity and to perhaps awaken some kind of thought, what am I doing here? But generally we don't take it on, we don't carry that on with us. So the Kumbhapaka hell, so I don't want to be sad, I don't even care about that. Even if I go to heaven or hell, one who's Narayana Parayana, what's that verse? Parayana Vabhiti. The Krishna, I know the verse very well, it just slipped in my mind. What is it? Narayana Parayana. How does it start? Yeah. Sarva Apavaga Narakesha. Whether you send me to hell or heaven, it doesn't matter. Narayana Parayana. One who's Narayana Parayana means one who's taken shelter of the lotus feet of Lord Narayan. He doesn't care whether you send me to heaven or hell. Because he's always remembering Krishna, nowhere where he goes. Narayana Parayana. That is our objective. Nor is my purpose. He says, I don't pray to your lotus feet for these things. Nor is my purpose to enjoy the soft-skinned, beautiful women who reside in the gardens of heaven. We may still be attracted to the soft skin. I pray to your lotus feet only, so that I may remember you alone in the core of my heart, birth after birth. This is the protection. The Lord reminding us. There's a prayer. Prabhupada said our only prayer. He wrote a letter to Devananda, one of his early disciples in 1968. Prabhupada said our only prayer should be, my dear Lord Krishna, you are sitting in my heart as a super soul. Please, please always remind me to chant your holy names. Please do not put me in forgetfulness. This is our prayer. On our own, what can we remember? We're Daivi Esha Gunamai. This material universe is very difficult to this material energy is very difficult to overcome. Isn't it? Very hard. We don't even recognize it's the material energy sometimes. We think it's the reality. Our desires, our conditioning, our situation, etc. But those who surrender unto me can easily cross beyond it. Process of surrendering, devotional service. And he's not even worried. Birth after birth. Just allow me, please. Remind me to always remember you, to chant your holy names. One of the most famous verses, I'll put it into different font here because it's a Sanskrit verse. Srila Prabhupada quoted, in fact he would sing this song, even in the early days, he sang it. It's a verse of King Kulashekar. Prabhupada loved this verse. He would sing it. It's even there on one of the recorded albums in the early days. I don't know which one it was. Prabhupada sings it on the album, along with Hare Krishna and other songs. Krishna tvadiya padapankacha pancharantam adyaiva me vishatumana saraja hangsa prana prayana samaye kapavata pitai kantavarodana vido smaranam kutaste. And Prabhupada, again and again, in his last days also, he was regularly reciting this verse to remember. Prabhupada also writes, he said, in order for devotees, because we all have to face death, but whatever means it may come, that we should practice. Yesterday, Bhagavati, Hind, and who else was there? Who else was there? Somebody else was there. They were reciting verses, learning verses over here. And I mentioned that Srila Prabhupada said, yes, devotees, they should do this. We should regularly recite verses. Because what happens is, those verses are there in your subconsciousness, even if not in your present awareness. They're there, as we see. We all have that experience. And they come up. At the time of death, Krishna tvadiya padapankacha pancharantam. Prabhupada said you should learn the Brahma Samhita, or verses like Nivitatashi rupagiyamanat bhavoshiti chotamanobhiramat. Verses which remind us of Krishna. And this is a verse which does. King Kulashekar says, O Lord Krishna, at this moment, let the royal swan of my mind enter the tangled stems of the lotus of your feet. Beautiful metaphorical presentation. This royal swan, this Rajahamsa, the royal swan, the bird, the royal swan of my mind, enter the tangled stems of the lotus of your feet. How will it be possible for me to remember you at the time of death, when my throat will be choked up with mucus, bile and air? How? Prabhupada is a very famous, I don't know Bengali, it was a very famous Bengali, I don't know if it's called a song, but statement. You're at the time of death, whatever bhajan, whatever we've done in this life, it'll be tested. At the time, if you've done your bhajan in this lifetime, Krishna will, at the time of death, That is what will be taken into account, the degree of our bhajan, our worship, our devotion. We have to prepare ourselves. We can't depend upon, an honorary degree. Ultimately, everything depends on Krishna's mercy. One has to, you could say, deserve Krishna's mercy. We haven't got time to get into the other side of it, how Krishna is equal to devotees and demons. It's based upon the verse in the Bhagavad Gita, Ye yatamam prapajyate tam stataiva bhajamyaham. As they surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. There's a whole chapter in the 7th canto, beginning, chapter 1. Krishna is equal to everyone. If we had time, we would go into that. There are many sections. Queen Kunti also discusses the equality of the Lord in dealing with each and every living entity. Actually, everything is the mercy of the Lord, even if we don't recognize it. So we have to finish there on that note of King Kulashekar. How will we remember Krishna at the time of death? You think we can just do any damn thing now and I'll chant Hare Krishna at that moment? Not so easy. Because we don't know what it's like to face death. I just watched the last 25 minutes of His Holiness Kadamba Maharaj's departure from this world. I stood right at his feet as he left this world. He was chanting, maybe not on that day, but he was chanting 16 rounds every day, even if it took him all day long. Because it's very hard when you're in a state of on the verge of death. You can't just say, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. The things don't work. God knows what's going on inside. But it was a very, we could say, transcendently uplifting experience to see the life of devotion and the final result of that life of devotion. Surrounded with devotees chanting the holy name in Vrindavan Dham, completely peaceful. His face was like beaming. Physically, his last breath, there was no sign of any, disturbance in one sense. I know what was going on inside. It certainly looked like Krishna was really protecting him. That's all I can say. I don't know. Certainly looked like it.
After that, he sat on his asana like a sage.
Yeah. We were carrying around Vrindavan, and he just looked like someone in total samadhi. Smiling, pure face, beaming. His face was still beaming. Incredible. His last words that morning, he spoke them to Vasudeva Prabhu, one of his disciples. Very faintly, Vasudeva heard him say, above all, he said, the mission. The mission above all. The mission of Krishna consciousness. Internally and externally, both. To cultivate ourselves, Krishna consciousness, and to distribute Krishna consciousness. That's what we're here for. It's not an institutional, the institution is essential in order to facilitate that, purposefully. The mission is to spread or help others to become aware of Krishna and to cultivate Krishna consciousness in our own lives. That's the purpose of the mission. It's not some material arrangements, this, that. They're only for that reason. The teachings of Bhagavad Gita, why is Krishna talking about karma yoga? Why is he talking about jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, ashtanga yoga? Why? To bring us ultimately to bhakti yoga. Everything we do is to that point, to bring us to that point of full surrender to Krishna. That is our constitutional position. That is the only position where we're really protected. There's no other protection other than taking shelter of Krishna. And then Krishna's mercy. That's the point. We don't know. It's by Krishna's mercy. From Him comes knowledge, remembrance, forgetfulness. It's not by our brain power or intellectual, efficiency. We can't depend on. I've seen, even amongst devotees, very sharp, super intelligent. And all of a sudden, you've got Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's. You can't remember. Can't remember. Or you got some debilitating sickness, physically or mentally. Can't recognize anyone. Nothing. Alzheimer's. There's another version of that. It's called, what's it? It begins with D. Dementia. Similar thing. Alzheimer's, I don't know the difference, but I think Alzheimer's is even more specific. I don't know. There's two types. You lose your memory. You don't even know where you are. Can happen. Why that happens? Who knows what's going on inside? Some removal of some illusions, removal of some false understandings, removal of some reactions of some kind is going on. But ultimately, we're not the mind, we're not the body. Krishna is there. So many times we've seen how Krishna comes at that moment, at the time of death, even though one is in a very debilitated or bad condition, broken condition. Krishna sees all that you do in your lifetime. Like we mentioned it, that last verse of Ishopanisada, devotee doesn't know. Please remember whatever I've done for you, my Lord. It sounds a bit materialistic, you know. Sounds a bit materialistic. But he wants not like material things, but you know, what hope do we have if Krishna doesn't help us? See? We're like babies. What hope do they have if parents don't look after them and help them? Yeah, that's another direction. Okay, we'll finish there. I'm sure there are millions of comments. Maybe some questions. I don't know if we have time. It's after 9. I would love to have read some of these other points here, but there's just no time.
Yeah. I know a story of a devotee a woman devotee who had Alzheimer, and in the hospital she always sing Hare Krishna. That's the only thing she remembers. She don't know who she is, who is the people around her. She only sing Hare Krishna.
There you go. Pretty good, huh? I was giving a Vanaprastha seminar about 20 years ago in Malaysia. Vanaprastha. And there was this, everybody was over 70 at that seminar. Everyone, about 20 old in Malaysian devotees. One of them was 93. And I known him from 10 years maybe. And very wonderful devotee. He memorized the whole Gita. The whole Bhagavad Gita. He knew it all. Indian man. And he was so pure. He was such a sincere devotee. But he was like 93, was on his last leg as he passed away the next year. He was losing his memory. That often happens when you get old. Not only because of dementia or some disease. It just happens quite often. The brain cells deteriorate or whatever it is. And he said, I was a grihastha then, he said, Prabhu, I can't remember hardly anything. I can't remember any verses from the Gita anymore. All I can remember is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Wonderful. Perfection. If that's all you can remember at the time of death, Prabhupada wrote that to Devananda. Please, may I never forget to chant the holy names. Please always remind me.
Last verse,
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. You were there. Peter was there. His last vibration was Hare Krishna, and he left. Teaching us. Chant Hare Krishna. You'll find, like for instance, when there's a big kirtan going on, whether it's a mela or some other, whatever you want to call it, but when there's a lot of kirtan going on, you often find that is vibrating in your consciousness when you go to sleep at night. Vibrating. And you may even come up in your dreams, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. You've got to put these impressions on our heart. Unfortunately, we have maybe too many bad impressions on our heart. To be eradicated, cleared up by the Krishna's Son. Don't put any more bad things in there, negative thoughts of others, this, that, the other. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.
At that time, a tremendous kirtan started.
Pardon?
As soon as Prabhupada left, this tremendous kirtan started.
Yeah, phenomenal.
Many of us, I talk to many Godfathers, it's the feeling that there was no roof to the we were part of a higher kirtan.
You're just going up to the higher planets, not beyond that.
It was an unbelievable kirtan in a different dimension.
Yeah.
We were just part of that kirtan.
Amazing. The spiritual realm.
Unbelievable.
Prabhupada took all of you to the spiritual realm. It's still there. We just forget sometimes. We don't realize it. And you see that in kirtan sometimes. You're off the bodily platform. You find yourself floating in kirtan. Literally, there's no longer thinking in terms of me and you and this and that. Sankirtan movement. Carry everyone back to Godhead. Even the demons. We heard from Peter also, that amazing example in Moscow, that devotee, that boy who became a devotee. Just because he had the opportunity, like it or not, even with a negative approach, he was negative towards the Harinam, but he had this opportunity. He would see the Harinam party regularly. Even though he was negative towards it, and eventually it bore fruit. Even if people see it negatively, they still ultimately, that's the end of the story, but ultimately they get the benefit from that. Even though it appears to be, they have a negative mood. Demoniac, if you want to call it that. There's all auspicious Sankirtan movement, the chanting of the holy name.
There was a demon living on the other in Dublin, temple opposite the street in, what was that?
Temple Street? No.
Montjoy Square.
Oh, the one before. Well, that was it.
Subdivide on the other side.
Yeah.
He was so envious of us. Sometimes he would swear at us and tell me he was very bad. So one day I was packing my Sankirtan band with a couple of devotees. He became so angry and yelling at us, and I told him to shut up, So he flew towards me, and then he slid, and he fell right in front of my feet like this, and he hit the curb, and his brain got out, and an old woman came and said, "You just got the mercy."
Oh my goodness, you got the mercy. He paid his obeisances to you as well. He fell down Dandavats.
Right there. An old woman, he got just the mercy.
Incredible. We used to have one fellow next door to us, I don't know what happened to him, in Bury Place in London. His name was Mr. French. Mr. French. He was #1 arch enemy of the Hare Krishna movement, Mr. French. That was his name, Mr. French. He would constantly harassing the devotees from day one till till the end. Right till the end. I don't know what happened to him. He must have had some special karma there, some special mercy. I mean, we had so much association with devotees, even though it was negative. Mr. French. You give him some credit. I mean, it was partly related to how we got Soho Street, because we had to get out of there. It just made it impossible for us. We went to all the authorities. We had court cases against us. Everything. We couldn't do it anymore. We couldn't stay there. We had to get a new place. So then we were in Soho Street. So indirectly, maybe he did some service there. Yes, all kinds. It's interesting. There was the mayor, the vice mayor of Edinburgh. No, big man in the council, maybe not the mayor, head of the council or something. He hated the Hare Krishna. He said, I will not allow them to do this Harinam on the streets. We go every day on Princess Street. I will not allow you to do this. It will not happen in our city. We will not allow it, he said. And he made a declaration, over my dead body, this will continue. And it was in the newspaper. A few days later, he died. Over his dead body. Yeah. I think he had a heart attack. He was getting on the bus or something and he had a heart attack. And the Harinam carried on. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam.